Hi everybody, so I want to share with you something absolutely incredible, how you could actually increase your FICO score up to 100 or even 200 points in just a matter of a couple of months. This is what I call the holiday blitz. So let me share with you exactly how this works. So behind the scenes, I have to tell you that the three credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, they actually start to downsize the amount of staff that they have during the holidays. Some of it is by choice and some of it is not so much by choice. Simply, a lot of people don't want to work during the holidays, and so you have your senior employees of these credit bureaus that simply don't want to come to work, so they call in sick or they take their vacation. Then you have your newer employees that don't really have options to take time off, and they'll either call in sick or they'll just dial it in and barely do any work during the holiday season. So this is a huge advantage to you. If you have a low FICO score and you're trying to get things removed off of your credit report, this is the perfect time to do it. It's during the holiday blitz season. So let me share with you exactly how this works. So what you should absolutely do is file your disputes, your physically mailed dispute letters, in the mail the week before or the week of Thanksgiving. So I would start the process of actually filing those letters, again, physically mailing them in the mail, not doing any kind of online disputes or anything like that. You want to physically mail these in the mail, and I would do it the Friday before Thanksgiving. At the very latest, the Monday before Thanksgiving. You want to make sure they're in the mail, okay? And so what happens during what we call this first round of disputes is that you're going to send a separate letter, one to Experian, one to Equifax, and one to TransUnion. Even better if you can get a signature confirmation or send a priority where you have a delivery confirmation. So you want to do it in this critical time frame right before Thanksgiving, because again, they're short staffed, which means that the time starts to tick the very moment they get your dispute in the mail, and they have exactly 30 days to do a full investigation. And so when they don't have enough staff through Thanksgiving and even through Christmas and the New Year, that's a full advantage for you to get stuff removed permanently off your credit reports. So first things first, we first need to figure out what's bad and adverse on your credit reports to begin with. So I recommend you go to Experian.com, you pay the $40, you actually get all three credit reports, including all three FICO scores, print it out, and actually go through with a marker to find all the things that are adverse or negative on your credit. Next, you want to dispute all of those things in dispute letters. Now, if you want dispute letters, I can actually give you free dispute letters. I'm going to share with you a little bit about how you can do that, okay, at the very end of this. So I can actually give you the actual templates that you will be mailing in the mail to be able to dispute these items. You want to be able to dispute everything that you possibly can, with the exception of a bankruptcy, unless the bankruptcy is over 2 years old, okay? So don't dispute the bankruptcy if it's just been discharged under 2 years ago. But if it's been discharged over 2 years ago, then go ahead, even dispute the bankruptcy. Go for it. What's the worst that could happen? They don't take it off. So you'd be in no better of a position than what you're in now. But the things that tend to fall off fairly quickly are charge-offs, anything from an ABC or a small collection agency. Those are the things that tend to fall off, because what happens is the credit bureaus have to then send out communication to all of these collection agencies, creditors, and all of these different agencies that you're disputing, and they too are also short-staffed. So they have within 30 days to get all of the proof that you owe this debt back to the credit bureaus, and then the credit bureaus can then get back to you, and everybody's just gone during the holidays. So you could use this time, again, I call it the holiday blitz, to actually have all of these negative adverse things removed permanently from your credit reports. So now is a really good, perfect time. Of course, there's no better time to start fixing your credit than any time of the year, but the holiday blitz is probably the very best time to start fixing your credit if you have problems with your credit. So go ahead and get that Experian.com 3 credit reports. You can get it from a different area online if you'd like. But again, you do have to physically mail these. Do not try to do online disputes because that never works out right. You need to actually send these to a real human being to actually have the best chance of having these things permanently removed. So what are you going to say in the letter? Well, my templates will actually do all the heavy lifting for you, but you should include information about how this debt is not correct. So you're not saying that it is your debt. You're not saying that it isn't your debt. You should never, ever admit to the fact that it's your debt. But you need to say that this information is incorrect. All right, so you're not saying it's not yours. You're not saying that it is yours. You're just saying that this information is incorrect and it needs to be investigated immediately. And the cool thing about the templates that I want to give to you for free is that it actually includes all the legalese that's required for you to send these letters. Also, when you actually send a physical letter, again, you're going to be sending 3 out, one to Equifax, one to TransUnion, one to Experian, all separately. And you're going to actually include exactly what you're disputing in these little sections, which again, you're going to see on the letter. And what I strongly recommend that you do, because they will try to buy time. The credit bureaus will always try to buy time. And what they tend to do is they'll send a form letter out saying, we need to make sure that we can verify your identity. So therefore, we're going to go ahead and kick this back to you until you show proof of your identity, including, but not limited to, a copy of your driver's license and so forth. So you want to include that information in this initial dispute letter package. So you want to include your dispute letter. You want to include a copy of your driver's license. Ideally, your driver's license will actually have your current physical address on there. If it does not, then make sure that you include at least 2 utility bills. So you want a copy of maybe your water bill or maybe your phone bill or maybe your electric bill, as long as it's in your name. So if you have an electric bill that has your name and your service address on it, which is your current living address, then that's perfect. So have a copy of that. Have a copy of maybe one other utility bill that includes your name and service address, and include a copy of your driver's license, hopefully provided that it actually has your current address on there. Then that way they can't possibly say that this is not a true dispute. That's not coming from you. It's actually coming from you. So then it doesn't give them that excuse, because they will try to do that every single time when they are understaffed and they're overwhelmed with disputes in the mail. So that's a secret that I've used successfully over the years. All right. The other thing that I'd like you to do is have 3 file folders that look just like this. And so I can also give you my credit log, and it looks like this. I actually have physical paper everywhere. So when you print out your credit reports, you can actually start to keep all of the correspondence that you receive from each credit bureau in each respectable file folder. So you see that this is Experian. I have one for Equifax and TransUnion along with a log, and you will physically fill out this log, or you can use my Excel spreadsheet, which I could also give you a free download of as well. So either one, you could either do the physical credit log, or you could actually have the Excel spreadsheet log that you can keep in your computer. Either way, it's okay. The reason you keep physical correspondence files is because they will actually tell you whether or not they're keeping it on your credit report or if they removed it. Now, here's a important critical component, is that if they actually removed it off of your credit report, guess what? Some other collection agency could buy the debt down the road, whether it's a year or 2 years down the road, and they could put it back on your credit report. So the law actually clearly states that if it was a creditor, whether or not it's the original creditor or a collection agency on the behalf of that creditor, if they've ever put it on your credit report and it was removed, then by law they can't put it on there, even if it's a new collection agency that adds it on there. So you want to always keep all your correspondence, especially your old credit reports and all of the correspondence that states that certain things have been removed or going to be removed off your credit, because chances are in the future a collection agency is going to buy that debt again and then put it back on your credit report, and then you can say, oh no, wait a minute, I actually had this removed. So even though it's a different collection agency, it's based on the same original debt, and therefore by law you absolutely must take it off my credit, right? So you do have that option. So we want to make sure that we do that. We save absolutely everything, and these file folders are going to get pretty thick over time, all right? I'm just warning you. So that's a critical element to this whole fixing your credit thing. Another thing that you want to be very, very clear about is that you always want to make sure that you not only save everything, but that you also never communicate with any of your creditors by phone. So a lot of them might start to call you later on saying, hey, we've received this dispute in the mail, or you know damn well you owe this money. Never answer the phone. Never admit to any debt when you're on the phone. So for example, if they ever kind of finagle you into getting on the phone, you never ever under any circumstance will you ever admit to the fact that you owe that debt, because if they have a recording of that, then it resets the debt from scratch, and it could take another 7+ years to have it removed off, so the time actually starts again. Now, if you have debt that's really, really old, say it's 5 years old or 6 years old, then it's eventually going to fall off at that 7-year mark. So it's up to you if you want to dispute it or not. I would dispute it anyway. Again, you never admit to the fact that you owe the debt. You never say that you don't owe the debt. You just basically say that this needs to be investigated because it's inaccurate. Now, how are you able to tell them that it's inaccurate even if you know in your mind that it's your debt? Well, here's how. Because say, for example, you owe Capital One, say you ran up your credit cards $1,000, all right? So say you ran up your credit cards $1,000 and you didn't pay it. And so all of a sudden they start to do compounded interest and fees and late fees and all these different things. And so $1,000 might turn into $2,000 or more. So when you're going to the credit bureaus, you're not being dishonest by saying this information is inaccurate, but technically it is inaccurate because you originally started off with $1,000 and they compounded the interest and the fees and the legal fees and all of these things so much that they've exacerbated it in such a way that you usually owe way more than what the original debt was. So technically you're saying that this is inaccurate information because you really don't know what the information should be. They change all of their different fees and their different percentages and so forth as time goes on, and many of those banks are not 100% honest. In fact, most of them are not, right? So you're essentially just saying, listen, this is an inaccurate debt, which is 100% true and correct. You're not lying to anybody by saying that. So that's really, really critical when you come at this initially, is that you say it's not your debt and it needs to be investigated, and then you cite all of the legalese, which again will be in my free template. So if you want to go ahead and get that free template now, just simply go to secretcreditletters.com. The link is below, and go ahead and click on it. You can actually get my credit templates, and you can actually get the credit log, both the Excel spreadsheet version and the Microsoft Word version that you can actually decide to print off and put in these little folders. So I would go to Staples or Office Depot, get yourself some of these manila folders. You're going to need quite a few because this is going to be a project. But the cool thing is your credit score will go way up over the holiday season. So what happens is, so say for example, you definitely send those letters out, say a week before Thanksgiving. So that gives you 30 days for them to get a response out. So I like to have my second round of letters completely ready to go before the 30 days comes up, because right when it gets to about the 35-day mark, you want to fire off another 3 sets of those letters right away. So you're essentially getting 2 rounds during the holiday blitz, because you get your first round right before Thanksgiving, you get your second round right around Christmas and before the new year. And again, the people that are working for the credit reporting bureaus are simply either not there or they're not mentally there. Like they're disgruntled because their cohorts got to take time off for the holidays. They didn't because they're newer in the company. So therefore they're doodling or playing Candy Crush or something else instead of working, and they're just very upset and disgruntled. So you could take this as your advantage and have a lot of these things fall off your credit. You'll be able to get so much done if you participate in this holiday blitz. So go ahead and click on the link below in the description box. Be sure to also subscribe to my channel. But also, most importantly, you want to make sure that you get on this right away. Don't be dragging your feet. Don't be deciding to do this later. Now is the time to get those letters ready. Now you might be asking, well, Monica, what if it's not the holidays? Well, do it anyway, because if you can keep doing these rounds of disputes every 35 days for each of the credit reporting bureaus, then eventually this stuff will start to fall off, because people, the creditors will start to get sick of dealing with you. And the very second the creditors stop responding to these responses or these investigations with the credit bureaus, the stuff must by law fall off your credit, even if they verify your debt before. So you always consistently keep demanding investigations through the credit bureau, even if they did verify the debt before. And the very moment that the creditor does not respond because they're sick of hearing about this and about you and your dispute, then it will fall off eventually anyway. So don't lose faith if it doesn't fall off right away. Keep circulating those rounds every 35 days. You want to be sending out letters, and pretty soon your FICO score will go way up before you know it, all right? So go ahead, subscribe to my channel immediately, and also click on the link below in the description box to be able to get the letters, which is again located at secretcreditletters.com. All right. So this is Monica Maid signing off, and I will see you at the top.